everybody. Welcome to the culmination of a long but fun project, the 1982 NBC Game of the Week in Strat-O-Matic. Started in April, went along with the calendar date of the season, and here we are in October, Game 1 of the 1982 World Series between the Kansas City Royals and the Montreal Expos. Now, let's meet the 25-man rosters for both teams. First, the bullpen and bench for the Royals, managed by Dick Hauser. On the bench for the Royals, outfielder Steve Hammond. Outfielder Cesar Geronimo. Catcher Jamie Quirk. Shortstop Onyx Concepcion. Catcher Don Slaught. First baseman Lee May. And infielder Greg Pryor. In the bullpen, relief pitcher Don Hood. Pitcher Bud Black. Pitcher Larry Gura. Pitcher Paul Splittorff. Pitcher Dennis Leonard. Pitcher Bill Castro. Pitcher Mike Armstrong. And pitcher Dan Quisenberry. Starting lineup for the Royals. The pitcher, Vida Blue. Leading off, playing left field, Willie Wilson. Batting second, playing second base, Frank White. Hitting third at third base, George Brett. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Hal McRae. Batting fifth in center field, Amos Otis. Batting sixth at first base, Willie Akins. Batting seventh and catching, John Wathen. Batting eighth in right field, Jerry Martin. And batting ninth at shortstop, U.L. Washington. The 1982 World Series Kansas City Royals 25-man roster. And now, your Montreal Expos, managed by Jim Fanning. The bench and bullpen. Outfielder Jerry White. Outfielder Dan Norman. Outfielder Terry Francona. Infielder Brian Little. Infielder Mike Gates. Infielder Brad Mills. And catcher Tim Blackwell. Pitchers Dan Schatzeder. Woody Fryman, Bryn Smith, Ray Burris, Charlie Lee, Bill Gullickson, Scott Sanderson, and Jeff Reardon. Now the starting lineup for your Montreal Expos. Starting pitcher, Steve Rogers. Leading off in left field, Tim Raines. Batting second, the designated hitter, Al Oliver. Hitting third in center field, Andre Dawson. Batting cleanup and catching, Gary Carter. Hitting fifth, third baseman, Tim Wallach. Hitting sixth at first base, Warren Cromartie. Batting seventh in right field, Joel Youngblood. Hitting eighth, shortstop, Chris Spire. And batting ninth, second baseman, Doug Flynn. Your Montreal Expos. All right, everybody, we'll pause the video, get everything set up, and get ready for first pitch of the 1982 World Series at Strat-O-Matic. All right, everybody, we are ready to go in Game 1 of the 1982 World Series as determined by the Strat-O-Matic gaming system for 1982. Royals defeated the Brewers in 4 games, and the Expos defeated the Dodgers in 4 games to advance. We are at Olympic Stadium, ballpark effect. Singles are 1 to 11 for lefties, 1 to 4 for righties. Home runs are 6 for everybody. Looking at the pitcher-catcher hold ratios, both teams are going to cut down the running game quite a bit. Steve Rogers and the Expos have a -3 factor when you combine the arm of Gary Carter, which is a -3, and Rogers is a 0, makes that a -3, so that will certainly kind of keep things in check. But even better, Kansas City, Vita Blue is a -3. Watton's a -1 for a net -4. So when you add the 2 for being held, that's a -6. So that may definitely put a damper on potentially Tim Raines and some of the rabbits on the Expos. So both teams traditionally like to run, but maybe this is not the best time to do it. We don't know. Steve Rogers finishing up the warm-up toss, as you can see, in 1982 was 19-8 with a 2.40 ERA. He did get the win in Game 1 of the NLCS and has not pitched since, so he's well rested and ready to take on these red-hot Royals who just went through Milwaukee like a Sherman through Atlanta. I mean, they just, other than the Don Sutton game, they pretty much dominated everything. So, I believe we are now ready to go. Willie Wilson steps to the plate, and I do want to make one correction that I forgot to check during one of the NLCS or ALCS games. Fly ball to right field B with a runner at second. I forgot to check that he could go to third. You just do the speed +2 for the outfielder's arm. I'm sorry, +2 and then add the outfielder's arm. And if it falls within the run rating, he's safe. If it's higher than the run rating, he holds unless we get a 20 and therefore he's out. So I forgot to do that at least on one of those fly ball right field Bs with the runner on second in less than 2 outs. So I did tighten that up. So I will be ready for that example or that situation when it comes up. But hopefully we're ready to go and hopefully won't be any mistakes. Got the dice, just traditional red, white, and blue colors, as those are the colors of the Expos. When we go to Kansas City, it'll be all blue. We'll do all blue for the Royal Blue, but in this one, we're going more for the Expos to give them some karma, perhaps. At the Big O, Olympic Stadium in Montreal. All right, enough preamble, rough prelim. We're ready to go. The season in the making. Best of 7 here in the World Series. The 1982 World Series did have the DH, so that's what I'm following. I don't really like the DH, but I'm trying to follow what they did in 82. And that was the National League gets the home field advantage, but there is a DH for all 7 games. It's not the home team that determines that. It's the whole 7 games. That's the way it was done back in the 80s. So here we go. Willie Wilson against Steve Rogers in the 1982 Strat-O-Matic World Series is now underway. The 111, and that's a ballpark single right off the bat for Willie Wilson. Singles for he's a switch hitter batting left-handed, so it's a 1 to an 11, but that's a 13, so he's going to line it to second. And right there is Doug Flynn. In like Flynn makes the catch. And there's one away, and we're underway here in the World Series. Frank White, the batter. And I know sometimes you get I guess some game companies or some, I don't know what, call this the Fall Classic because apparently the World Series is like a trademark thing or something, but I don't care about that. I could care less about trademarks. If they want to ding me for calling it the World Series, go right ahead. I don't really care. I'm going to call it what I want. This is the World Series. Steve Rogers, Frank White, 1-4. Ground ball to third. Johnny on the spot is Wallach. 2 down. 2 up and 2 down. Good start for Steve Rogers, trying to keep the leadoff guys off base for the Royals. And here's George Brett. He had a quiet ALCS, but he's looking maybe to shine here in the series. 2-10. He won't do it that way. It's a ground ball to Spire. And it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Steve Rogers as he takes care of the red-hot Royals in order. 1-2-3. Go to the bottom of the first. Kansas City nothing, and the Expos coming to bat. And on the mound for the Royals, left-hander Vita Blue. He was the winner in Game 1 of the ALCS. And, of course, he hasn't pitched since then either, so he's well rested. And he's raring to go. And he'll be facing leadoff man Tim Raines, the speedster. Tim Raines in 1982, he had 78 stolen bases. So it's a good idea to keep him off the bases, although, like I said, it is a -4 for a hold rating. So even if he gets on, there's no guarantee he can make it. Raines, a switch hitter batting right-handed, 4-7, and that's a leadoff walk. Not what you want if you're Vita Blue. So despite the -4, Raines is going to try to get a jump. 2 through 6 or an 11 will get him the jump. 9, that will not get him the jump, so he cannot get the jump. And by not getting the jump, that would drop him to a 15. Then 4 for being held would be an 11. -4 there would be a 7, so there's no way they're going to try that. The odds are not in their favor for that. So he will hold at first base, and of course, Willie Mays Aikens is going over there to hold him on. And now here's Vida Blue with the first strategy roll of the, or havoc roll, what do you want to call it, of the series to check for potential wild pitch. Nothing happened. There was no 1 or 2 there. So here's Al Oliver, DHing, normally playing first base, but they're going to DH him as he has a 4 rating and Cromartie's a 311 versus a 420. So it made more sense to DH Al Oliver. Let's see, could have hit and run maybe because he would have been an A hit and run, but we'll let him swing away. 5-8 against a lefty, and it's a good thing. Look at this: 1 to 8's a triple, 9 to 20 is a double. That's a 16. That's a double for Al Oliver. The double is assumed to go to center field. Center fielder AO is a -2 arm. Raines was being held, so it makes him a 16. The -2 arm makes it a 14, so he can try to score with nobody out on a 1 to 14. Do you risk it that early? I think with nobody out, they're just going to play it safe and hold the runner at third base. So second and third, nobody out for the big boys. Dawson and Carter coming up. And Vida Blue is in trouble early. In trouble, definitely in trouble early. And Dick Hauser's got a kind of a chagrin look on his face, wondering what's going on. He does not start he envisioned. Here's the roll for potential pickoff or wild pitch or whatever, and nothing's happening. All right, so the infield, let's see what they want to do here. Do they want... Runs are going to be at a premium, I can tell you that. Against Steve Rogers, they apparently are going to be a premium. So they're going to play the infield in. 4-7, and that's another walk. So Vida Blue, 2 walks and a double, and the bases are loaded for Gary Carter. And again, the infield is in, trying to turn that double play that would start at the plate for the fourth. Nothing happening on the havoc. Here is Vida Blue to Carter with the infield in against Vida Blue, but if he finds a 3-6, that plus sign is going to get through for a base hit. But I think that's the only place on there where it would hurt them to go infield in. So let's see. 3-8, and that's a walk. So Vida Blue is third walk issued for Vida Blue. It is forced in a run, and the Expos grab a 1-0 lead right off the bat. Bases loaded and still nobody out. Vida Blue may need a visit from the pitching coach because he just, I don't know if the umpire is squeezing him or is not comfortable with the mound or what's going on, but he's having his issues. Infield's going to have to stay in for Tim Wallach. And again, he's got the 3-7 right there with a plus sign, so they're trying to avoid that for sure. Blue also trying to avoid a walk. 4-4 is a fly ball center field X. That is Amos Otis. He's a 2E1. So good. Can't ask for much better in the outfield than Amos Otis. 2 and a 7. Let's see what that does. It was almost a 20, which would have definitely not been a sac fly. A 2-7 might be. Let's see. 2-7 is an F2. And an F2 is a sacrifice fly. Let's see. There's a 13 there. He's an E1, no error. But it is a sacrifice fly because that rolled from a 20 to a 7. That turns it into a sacrifice fly to center field. Al Oliver will score. And just like that, it's 2-0 Expos. Dawson and Carter had to hold, but now it's 2-0 Expos, 1 out. Infield at double play depth now looking to turn 2. And here is the first baseman, Warren Cromartie. Been playing right field most of the NLCS, but in this game, he's going to play first base. That's a leaner, so I can't call it a 1-2 because that white die is leaning, and when it's leaning, I just re-roll the whole thing. I'm not going to just re-roll the white die. I'm just going to count it as a mulligan and start over. 1-5, and that's a ground ball second base A with a plus sign, but the infield's not in, so that's not going to be a base hit. It's just going to be a 4-6-3 double play. And actually, Vida Blue gets out of the inning probably about as good as he can expect. 2-0. That might still be an uphill climb against Steve Rogers, but at least, I mean, that could have been 4 or 5-0 the way that inning was setting up. But Vida Blue gets the pitcher's best friend, that sacrifice, or I'm sorry, that double play. And I actually caught a bad break. Had that D20 roll been a 20 instead of a 7 on Wallach, that would have been a short fly and only 1 run would have scored. But I guess you take your victories where you can get them. All right, designated hitter Hal McRae will lead off against Steve Rogers. Royals got their work cut out for him against Steve Rogers. 4-6, and that's ground ball to short. Spire's there again. Boy, Steve Rogers give him a 2-0 lead, and he may just run with it. Here's A.O. Amos Otis. 6-5. Well, as soon as I say that's a 1-3 home run chance. But that's a 4. It just missed, so it's going to be a fly to left. Boy, talk about a bad break right there. That would have been a home run for Amos Otis, but he missed it by 1 number. And that may be the way this thing is going. Near misses for the Royals. Here's Willie Aikens. He was a big star, I believe, in Game 1 of the ALCS against the Brewers. 4-3. That's a fly ball right field X. We're going to Joel Youngblood. That's why he's in there in right field instead of Cromartie, because he's a 2-E7. Much better defender. 2 and a 9. Should be okay. Now 4 and a 9, which with Cromartie would have been a single, but a 2 and a 9 is a fly out. That's a 12, and he is an E7. And there is no 12, so it's good play for Joel Youngblood. He makes the catch. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Steve Rogers. And the Expos take a 2-0 lead and carry it to the second inning, looking for more against Vita Blue. Vita Blue now will be facing the bottom of the order, Youngblood, Spire, and Flynn. So now Jim Fanning has to manage with the DH, not having to worry about Steve Rogers hitting. So he can just let Steve Rogers go as long as he wants. That'll take a lot of the bunts and everything out of the situation, although Flynn probably acts more like a pitcher the way he hits or doesn't hit. So we'll see what happens. Youngblood, 1-4, and he draws another walk. Third walk already for Vita Blue. Catching them off the batter cards primarily, although a couple of them did come off his card. In 82, he walked 80, struck out 103. So 80 walks in 181 innings. I guess that's a little high. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad, but maybe it is. Youngblood will not be held at first base. Here's Chris Spire. Nothing happening. Blue to Spire, 2-8. It's ground ball third base B. It's a fielder's choice as Brett goes to White for the force, but not hit hard enough for Spire to get doubled up. 1 away. Spire will not be held as a slow base runner. That'll bring up the aforementioned Doug Flynn. Nothing happening. Blue looking for another double play if he can get it. 3-5. Now he gets a strikeout. First strikeout of the game for Vita Blue. 2 down, and the second inning going much better than the first, although it's not over yet. Here's Tim Raines. He drew one of those 3 walks early on and scored. 112 against the lefty. That's a split chance on the super advanced. 1-7 is a single. That is a 7. It's a single 1 star. In advance, it's going to fly to center. Super advanced, when you get the triangle, you come down here and take the split result. The 7 falls in that, so it's a single. And Spire will stop at second base. So runners at first and second with 2 outs for Al Oliver. They are not holding Spire on second base, and of course Raines not being held as a trail runner. Blue facing Oliver, who hit a big double his first time up. 5-12, that's a ground ball third base X. That is Wallach. And I'm sorry, that is Brett rather. 2E21 for Brett. 2 and a 15, he'll get to that. The E21 and a 9 should be okay, and it is. So Brett makes the play. Let's see, 2 and a 15 is a G1, so we'll go ahead and say he went the short way. We'll call it 5-4 fielder's choice to take care of it, not that it matters. Inning's over, and Blue escapes further damage. We go to the third, 2-0 Expos. Rogers back out. We'll face the bottom of the order, Wathen, Martin, and Washington. And the Royals have not dinged Rogers as of yet. 3-2, and they still haven't. That's a ground ball to Wallach, 1 away. For the right fielder, Jerry Martin. 5-7. They'll finally get the first hit now. One's a triple, anything else is a single. 1 out single for Jerry Martin. He will not be held, as he is a very slow base runner. He had 1 steal on the season, got caught 1 time, but just not a good base stealer, so he will not be held. First time for the strategy roll or the havoc roll on Rogers, nothing happening. Here's UL Washington. 1-9 for Washington. That's a walk. So maybe the chink in the armor is starting to come around as they're starting to get to Steve Rogers a bit. First and second with 1 out. And top of the order, Willie Wilson. Got a bad break on the ballpark single check his last time up, or his first time up. Let's see what he can do this time against Rogers. 1-7. Damage done. That's an 8, so it's a single 2 stars. That will score Martin. Cuts the lead to 2-1. Moves Washington to third base. Royals have something cooking. Runners on the corners with only 1 out, and Willie Wilson looking to get a jump. 3 through 6 will get him that jump. 11 does not get him the jump, but that's a 2. So a 2, let me refresh my memory here, but I believe a 2 is a balk chance. I know 1's a pickoff chance, but I believe 2 is a balk chance, and it is. But Rogers has no balk rating, but it means he can't get the jump. So Willie Wilson will have to hold. So runners are at the corners with 1 out. Infield looking for the double play ball. And Frank White, the batter. 4-8, and he struck him out. Big strikeout there for Rogers. Out number 2. Infield can go back to full depth. And George Brett, the batter. Havoc roll. Nothing, no wild pitches to check on. Brett against Rogers. 3-8, and that's a walk, and that'll load the bases. So the Royals have something definitely still going. Bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the third for the dangerous Hal McRae, the designated hitter. Rogers, nothing on the Havoc roll. 1-8, and that's a 1-13 single, but that's a 20. So again, the D20 lets Kansas City down. It's a liner right to Wallach to end the inning. Royals leave them loaded, and that could come back to bite them. They get 1, but they could have had more. They cut the lead to 2-1, but they certainly would have liked to get a couple more to take that lead. But at least they show that Steve Rogers is human after all as they break through for a run. All right, now Vida Blue with the task of holding the Expos where they are. Here is Andre Dawson, and also the task of throwing strikes and not walking guys. 5-5, and that's a strikeout. That's a good start for Vida Blue as it gets Andre Dawson. That's strikeout number 2 for Mr. Blue. And that brings up Gary Carter, the kid. 5-7, and that is a fly to right. Hauled in by Jerry Martin, 2 down. And maybe Vida Blue now has gotten into a groove. Here is Tim Wallach. 6-6, that's a pop out to UL Washington. A 1-2-3 inning for Vida Blue, and things have kind of settled in a bit here at the Big O. We are at a 2-1 ball game as we go to the 4th. Rogers will face Otis, Akins, and Wathen here in the top of the 4th. 5-11, and that's a ground ball first base X, and that's going to be Cromartie. 3-11 for Cromartie. 3 and a 4, that might get through for a base hit. 3 and a 4 is a base hit. That's a 3 on the D6s, and he is an E11. There is a 3, that's a 2-base error. When you roll a 3, that's a 2-base error. So not only is it a single for Amos Otis, but a 2-base error on Cromartie. Apparently he fielded that trying to flip to Rogers and got away, and by the time Gary Carter picked it up, AO was on third base. So big error right there by Cromartie, and he was at first base because he's a better first baseman than Oliver is theoretically, but not that time. The role just didn't work out for him. Now, runner at third, nobody out. Steve Rogers, do you play the infield in? I think they're going to take a chance and play the infield in. See if it backfires. 3-6. That's a 1-2 single, but that's a 6, so it's a line out to first. Snagged over there by the guy that just made the error, Cromartie. He makes the catch. Getting back at third is AO. 1 down. Infield continues to stay in. And here is Wathen. Wathen grounded to third baseman Wallach his first trip. Infield is still in. Rogers 2-4. Fly ball, right field B, question mark. So a chance for a sacrifice fly right here on the right field B question mark. Now the difference is Not like going from second to third, but if it's outside of his run rating, he'll be out. So we've got to take a chance here. Amos Otis is a 15. The right fielder, Youngblood, is a -3 arm, and that's why he's out there. -3 arm makes that a 12. So 1 to 12, and I believe if it's not a 1 to 12, let's see if you add the 2 as well. I got to double check on that and make sure I got my things straight here. Let's see. B question mark. Let's double check this and make sure I'm playing it right. Okay, so it's a +2. It's the same situation. However, if he doesn't fall into the run rating, he's going to be out. He's not going to hold. He's going to be out trying. So again, the 15 minus the 3 is a 12, but you add 2 makes it a 14. They're still going to try it. A 1 to 14, and we got a tie game. 15 to higher, it's a double play at the plate, and the inning is over. It's a 3, so he's in there. Sacrifice fly by John Wathan, and Amos Otis beat the good throw by Youngblood. And that's looking like an unearned run right now at the moment. So we're tied at 2. You're in the top of the 4th on the sacrifice fly by Wathan. 2 outs, bases are clear for Jerry Martin. 2-11, and that's a fly to left to end the inning. But the damage is done. The Royals have come back to tie the game at 2. We go to the bottom of the 4th here at the Big O. Vida Blue now pumped up, getting that run support. Going to face Warren Cromartie. I mean, a lot of times a guy will make a good defensive play and lead off the next inning. Here's a case where a guy makes a boot of an error, causing an unearned run, and then he leads off. So mixed signals there from the Expo faithful. Some cheers and some grumblings. But he can make up for it right here. 6-9, but he doesn't. He pops it up to Frank White. So 1 away, and that'll bring up Joel Youngblood, who almost made a really great throw to nail AO at the plate. 2-4 for Youngblood, and that's a line out to first. Willie Aikens makes the catch, 2 down. And that'll bring up Chris Spire, shortstop. You know what? I misread that. Let me go back to the at-bat. I misread that. I counted Youngblood against a righty. He's facing a lefty. 2-4 is actually a ballpark single check. So I'm going to re-roll the D20 and check for a single. It has to be a 1 to 4. It is not. So instead of a liner to first, it's really a liner to short. So I want to be accurate on that. I thought something just didn't seem right when I was looking at that. So that's what it was. I had read off the wrong side. So I wanted to make sure that got fixed. All right, now the Chris Spire at bat. 3-4, and he flies to right to end the inning. So it's a 1-2-3 inning. Vida Blue now has retired 7 in a row, and we are tied at 2 as we head to the 5th at Olympic Stadium. Brand new ball game. The Royals actually have the momentum as they scratched off some runs here against Steve Rogers. Here's UL, 5-6, and that's a ground ball to second. Handled by Flynn, 1 away, and that'll flip the order over to Willie Wilson. Line to second and singled. 4-2 for the switch hitter is a walk, so not really what Steve Rogers was looking to do there. Walk the speedy Willie Wilson. He will be looking to get a jump, 3-6. Can't do it. So Rogers able to hold him close, and that'll bring up Frank White. 4-8, struck him out, 2 down. So 2 outs, and that sends up George Brett. Nothing on there. Here's George Brett. 6-10 against the lefty. That's a fly ball center field X. Andre Dawson's a 1E9, so we know he's going to get to it as a 1. We're checking for an error. E9 and a 10 is probably okay. E9 and a 10 is okay, so it's a good play for the Hawk. Andre Dawson as he swoops over and makes that catch. We go to the bottom of the fifth, still tied at 2. Here in game 1. Now, I was hoping for a close ball game, a close series. At least in the first inning, it looked like it might be a blowout for Montreal, but Kansas City says not so fast, my friends. So we got a tight one here in the 5th. Here's Doug Flynn. Struck out his first chance, 4-4. And that is a fly ball center field X. So we got Amos Otis, 2E1. 2 and a 17 is good all day. E1 and a 13, I don't think there's any issue there. 17 is the only error chance, not 13. So AO makes the catch, 1 away. Top of the order for Tim Raines. Raines has walked and singled. It's been a thorn in the Royals' side. 5-4, switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a catcher X. Wathan is a 3E5. 3 and an 11 for a catcher. 3 and an 11 is a P/F, but nobody's on base, so we're looking at a pop out. That's an 11, and he is an E5. No 11, so it's just going to be a pop out to Wathan, or it might be a foul out. What is it officially here? P/F is actually foul out. So if you want to be technical, it's a foul out, not a pop out. It was in foul territory, not that it matters. It's an out, that's all that matters. 2 down for the designated hitter, Al Oliver. Had a big double in the first. 1-2 is a ballpark home run chance. 1-6, that's a 5. It is, I'm sorry, is that a 9 or a 5? That is a 5, okay, because sometimes my 9's a little funky, but that is a 5. So Al Oliver does it again. Double in the first, a homer here in the 5th, and the Expos take a 3-2 lead on the ballpark home run by Al Oliver. Vida Blue just doesn't, he knew he got one, he knew he let one get away, and Al Oliver didn't miss it. So here's Andre Dawson. 4-7, that's a walk again, so don't want to have these walks come up if you're Vida Blue. Dawson will look to get a jump. 2 through 5, 11 or a 12. 10, not going to get the jump, so he will be held on though, but he can't go anywhere. And here's Gary Carter against Vida Blue. 3-5, that's a ground ball to second, and the inning is over. But the Expos take the lead on the Al Oliver homer. We go to 6, it's 3-2 Montreal. And Steve Rogers now given a second life with a 1-run lead. Here's Hal McRae. 2-4, and wait a minute, that lead might go away pretty quickly. 1-15 is a homer, that's a 2, and just like that, Hal McRae homers. Well, the Montreal DH homers, and now the Kansas City DH homers. So home runs for both DHs, and now we're tied at 3. Just that fast. We are tied at 3 apiece, and here is AO, Amos Otis. 3-7, and that's a ground ball back to Rogers. 1 away for Willie Aikens. First baseman's 0 for 2. Flew to right and line to first. 2-9. He'll get a hit this time. 1-9 is a double. That is a 9, so it's a double for Willie Aikens. He will not be held, but he is the go-ahead run in scoring position for John Wathan. Havoc roll for Rogers, nothing happening. Catcher Wathan, big sacrifice fly back in the 4th. That tied the game at the time. 3-9, and that's a ground ball second base C. So that will move the runner to third base, but now there are 2 outs. And Jerry Martin, the batter. And this is a case where if there was no DH, you could walk Jerry Martin and face the pitcher, but with the DH, that strategy is out the window. Unless you want to walk him and pitch to UL Washington. So it's kind of 6 1/2 dozen of the other. Rogers to Martin, 4-10. Ground ball shortstop X, that is Spire. He's a 3E14. 3 and a 7, I think he'll get to that. We'll double check it. 3 and a, you would think I memorize these things after a while, but I don't. 3-7, it's a G3. There's a pound sign, but nobody's being held. The infield's not in. So he does get to it. That's a 12. He's an E14. There is no 12, so it's good play for Chris Spire. And that will end the inning. But the Royals have tied it on the Hal McRae homer. We go to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 3. And this is the fatigue inning for Vida Blue. Rogers can go to the 8th before fatiguing, unless he gives up 6 runs. Here's Wallach to lead things off. He's 0 for 2. He did have, I'm sorry, 0 for 1. He did have a sacrifice fly in the first. Blue, 5-4. That is a catcher X, so we're right back to looking at Wathen again. 3-5. 3 and a 4 for a catcher. 3 and a 4 for a catcher is a W/G. So we're looking at a ground ball out if there's no error. There's an 11, and he's a 5, no out. So it's a 2-3 ground out, a little squibber. And no damage done there with nobody on base. Wathen makes the play. 1 away for the Crow, Warren Cromartie. He's had a rough day, hitting to a double play, 0 for 2, and he's made an error. 1-7, and he strikes out. So the bad day continues for the Crow. 2 down. I'm sorry, I read off the right side again instead of the left side. I did it again. It's actually a walk against the lefty. Don't know how I keep reading off the right side like that. My bad. My apologies to Mr. Cromartie. My apologies to Mr. Cromartie. That 1-7 is actually going to be... Oh, no, it is a strike. It is a strikeout. My bad. I was looking at 3-7. Strikeout stands. I was right the first time. 1-7 just happened to be the same versus lefty and righty, so no damage done there except to my head. All right, here's Youngblood. Blue to Youngblood, 2-5. That's a double. Definitely off the correct side this time. That's a double for for Joel Youngblood. 2-out double. He's in scoring position. He will not be held. Actually, he will be held. It's a 15 runner. He will be held. So they will hold him on second base to try to keep him close. Havoc roll for Vita Blue. Nothing happening. And here's Chris Spire. He's 0 for 2. 2-3 against the left-hander, and he pops it up to Frank White to end the inning. So nothing doing there for the Expos. We've played 6, and we're tied at 3. Nothing's been decided. Hopefully looking for a nice finish in these last 3 innings. Steve Rogers will start off the top of the 7th against the bottom of the order, UL Washington. Washington is 0 for 1, a walk and a grounder to second. 2-8 for UL, and he grounds to short. Spire is there, 1 away. Flips the order over to Willie Wilson. He is 1 for 2. Liner to second, a single and a walk. 2-3, it's a ground ball to second. Flynn is there, 2 down. Good idea to keep Willie Wilson off the bases. The double machine, Frank White, but not today. He's 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. 6-6. Now he might get the double this time, though. 1-7 is a double, but that's a 9, so it will be a single instead. Frank White, a 2-out single. And he will have to be held. He will not try to get a jump, as his chances of stealing would not be that good. But he will be held. Havoc roll there, nothing happening. Here's George Brett. He's definitely looking for something to happen here. He's been kind of sluggish the whole playoffs. 4-3. Fly ball right field X, and that is Youngblood, 2-7. 2 and a 9. That's good all day long. He will definitely get to it. That's a 12. It's an E7. There is no 12, so good play for Youngblood. And the inning's over. We go to the 7th inning stretch here at the Big O, tied at 3. And since we're at the 7th inning stretch, I'll go ahead and take the opportunity to stretch myself. Stand up, check everything out, make sure everything is copacetic, and get ready for this hopefully fantastic finish. Yeah, everything looks like it's still in play pretty well from what I can see. So I think we're still in good shape. All right, Vita Blue had 1 knock against this point of weakness in the 6th. So we start the 7th, bottom of the order, Doug Flynn to lead it off against Blue, 4-10 against a right-hander. That's a split chance with this triangle. 1-12 is a single. That's an 11. So single for Doug Flynn. And in advanced, it would have been a single already, but super advanced, it stayed a single because the D20 cooperated. So Flynn is aboard. He will not try to go anywhere. Raines, the batter, he's a decent bunter. Do you try to bunt him over? I think you almost have to. I think you almost have to try to bunt him over. So He becomes a C bunter, so we're going to try it. A C bunter and a 9. Let's see if that works out for him. A C and a 9. Oops, wrong page. Let's get the right one here. C and a 9 on the bunt chart is a 1 and 2, so it's a 1 ball and 2 strike count on Raines. Do we keep the bunt or do we let him swing away? I think they're going to keep the bunt on. That's a 10. And a 10, that's not good for Raines either as a C bunter. That's a pop-up. At least it's not a double play, but it is a pop-up. The white die is a 3, which means it went to the catcher. So he pops it up to Wathen. A bad bunt there by Raines. He was not able to get the job done. His last at-bat, he fouled to Wathen. This at-bat, he pops up to Wathen. So he has struggled here lately. Here's Al Oliver, though. He has not struggled. He has doubled and homered. And he's been a thorn in Vida Blue's side for sure. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Here's Blue to Oliver. 6-5. That's a ground ball shortstop X. The runner was not being held, so the shortstop Washington will remain a 2E32. 2 and a 16 might be a double play. Check it out. 2 and a 16 is a G1. That's a 10. He's an E32. There is no 10. It's a double play. 6-4-3. So the inability of the bunt to get down the bunt by Raines rather, kind of set them back for the whole inning. And they come away with nothing. We go to the 8th, still tied at 3. And this is the fatigue inning for Steve Rogers to begin that. Both bullpens kind of quiet right now, though. I think both Hauser and Fanning are sticking with their aces. And here is Hal McRae. He homered to tie the game back in the 6th. Rogers has to be careful. 3-4. That's a split chance on a triangle, but it's a 1-2 single. Anything else, he lines to short. So since it's super advanced, he's out. In advanced, that would have been a single, but not in super advanced. He lines it, and Spire catches it. One away for AO, Amos Otis. 5-8. Ground ball second base X. That is Flynn. He's a 2E15. 2 and a 17 is good all day long. E15 and an 8. There is no 8. Good play for Doug Flynn. 2 down, and that brings up Willie Aikens, who doubled his last time up. Long ball threat, so Rogers has to be careful. 5-10. That's ground ball third base X. That is Mr. Wallach. He's a 3E24. 3-12, he'll get to that. 3-12 is a G2, and that's an 8, and he's an E24. There's a 9, but no 8, so good play for Wallach, and it's a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 8th for Steve Rogers. So we can definitely go into the 9th, no problems. Vida Blue now will come out and pitch to start the 8th inning. Although there's a whole bunch of right-handers coming up, they're going to stick with Vida Blue. Or do they? Let's see what they want to do here. Do you want to stick with Vida Blue or do you trust him? You know what? The Royals had a pretty good bullpen in the ALCS, and they're going to it right now. They're going to go to the bullpen. So that's all for Vida Blue. Vida Blue is going to go 7 innings, give up 3 runs. All are earned. He's going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. But the big blow was the homer by Oliver. And he also walked quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walks for Vida Blue. And let's see, out of the 5, let's see how many strikeouts did he get. 1, 2, 3 strikeouts. So 5 walks and 3 strikeouts. So that's where he kind of ran into a little bit of trouble. And with Dawson, the right-hander, coming up, followed by Carter, a right-hander, and Wallach, a right-hander, they will go to a right-hander out of the pen. And the right-hander they're going to go to is going to be Mike Armstrong. He will come on and pitch in back of Vida Blue. On the 82 season, 5-5, a 3.20 ERA and 6 saves. Pitched fairly well in the ALCS. And he's a multiple inning pitcher, so he can go several innings if he has to. But right now, he will be in there facing Andre Dawson. start the bottom of the 8th. 5-5. That's a strikeout. Good start. 1 away. And here's Gary Carter. But really, Vida Blue gave Dick Howser about all he could ask for. 7 quality innings, giving up 3 runs and keeping them in the game as a tie score. Here's Gary Carter. 6-9. Struck him out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Armstrong, and this seems to be, at least initially, be a good move by Dick Howser. We'll see if it holds out. Tim Wallach. 1-5, and he walked. So a 2-out walk to Wallach. And Wallach will be held, but he won't try to go anywhere. Armstrong is a +1, but Wathen's a -1, so it's a 0. So if he tried to get a jump and he accomplished it, it would be a 1-11 to steal. Wow, what do they want to do with it? You know what? They're gonna try to get a jump here, because if he gets into scoring position, then a base hit will give him the lead. So he needs a 4 through 6, or he needs a 4-6 or a 4-6 to get the jump. A 12, he's picked off. It's a 7, so he can't get the jump. It's a moot point. All right, so but I thought I'd give it a shot. Warren Cromartie, the batter, and he's had the rough day for the Expos with his error and his strikeout and his double play. 0 for 3 with an error. He could really use something good to happen to him right now. 1-6. It's not going to happen. He's a strikeout again. Boy, Cromartie just hearing it from the fans. They are not giving the crow signal. I think they're giving something else. All right, we go to the 9th, tied at 3. Rogers back out there. He's definitely back out there. There is some slight bullpen action for the Expos. They do have a left-hander. The left-hander, Woody Fryman, is loosening in the bullpen, just in case Rogers starts to falter a little bit. That's just for precaution. And leading things off is John Wathen here in the top of the 9th, tied at 3. 2-9 for Wathen. That's a strikeout plus injury, and I am doing injuries in game only. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Or should I do, you know what? Do I want injuries to decide this thing? I don't know. I should have thought about that before I started. I really didn't think that through, I don't think, all the way I thought I should have. I didn't do injuries in the other one, but boy, I wonder if I should do injuries in this one. I hate to take Wathen away from them from the series, because if I look at the Royals roster, they do have 2 other catchers, though. They do have Quirk and Slot. But it could be a case where one team only has 2 catchers and don't have a card for somebody else. Boy, I hate to. You know what? I'm going to play injuries. I'm going to do it. So we're going to check the injury chart for Wathen, and we come up here. 1 to 4, he's okay. 5 and 6, he loses the remainder of the game. Anything above 7, he has to sit out some games. That's a 6. So he's got to come out for the remainder of the game, but he is eligible to come back in game 2. So Wathen, after striking out, I must have hit this there, because this says 1-9, but I think I rolled a 2-9, and now I'm not sure. I think I rolled a 2-9 though, because 1-9 would have been over here, but I think I re-rolled everything, so pretty sure it was a strikeout there for Wathen. So he strikes out, but he will have to be removed, and they will bring in Don Slot to catch. The new catcher, Don Slot, and we'll look at his defensive prowess. Whoops. He is a 3, an E2, and a -1 arm, so actually a little bit better than Wathen. Not as good of a hitter, though. 10, and let's see, he's got a T4 and a P0. All right, so Slot will be the new catcher going forward in this game, as Wathen has to exit, but he will be available in game 2. He only misses the remainder of this game, fortunately for the Royals. But I am going to do injuries, so that set the precedent. So now any injuries going forward, to be consistent, I'm going to have to count them. So both teams have to hope they avoid the injury bug. Here's Rogers to Martin. 5-6 against Rogers. That's a strikeout. He's not tired yet, so strikeout stands. He has not given up anything since reaching the 8th inning of his point of weakness, so he's still good. And here's UL Washington. 4-4. That's a ballpark single check. UL switch hitter batting left is a 1-11. That's a 17 though. So it's a liner to second, and the inning is over. So Steve Rogers goes 9 innings. He goes 9 innings and pitches very well, but I think that's going to do it for him. I believe Woody Fryman will be coming on to pitch the 10th if we get to a 10th. So let's check the numbers on Rogers. He goes 9 innings, gives up 3 runs, 2 of them earned because of the error on Cromartie made 1 of the runs unearned. So let's see how many hits he gave up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 hits. Oops, 6 hits. Check the walks. 1, 2, 3, 3 walks, and strikeouts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 strikeouts. And of course the 1 home run to McRae. So final story on Rogers. 9 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a home run. He could still be the winner if the Expos win it here in the bottom of the 9th. Or if not, he'll get a no decision. So Armstrong is back out to pitch the bottom of the 9th. And he'll be facing Youngblood, Spire, and Flynn. Could pinch hit for Youngblood, but he did double his last time up. But that was against Vida Blue. Doesn't hit quite as well against righties. Let's see, maybe they want to make a move here. The Expos, let's look at their bench. They could bring in Jerry White, who does much, much better against righties. Or not much better, but significantly. Well, Terry Francona does a whole lot better. So they're going to bring in Francona to pinch hit for Youngblood. And I believe they're going to bring in Jerry. Actually, we might just leave Francona out there to play right field. So Francona is going to come on and try to get something started for the Expos. He will stay in the game and play right field. He becomes a 3, E18 with no arm. So hopefully the error doesn't bite him on that. But they want offense. So Francona, the singles machine, he's looking to start things off here against Armstrong. Here in the bottom of the 9th, tied at 3. 3-9, but he doesn't. He grounds it to short. UL Washington is there, 1 away. That brings up Chris Spire. 2-10 for Spire. That's ground ball to second. Frank White is there, 2 down. Looking more and more like extra innings in game 1. Here's Doug Flynn. 1-5, and that's a line out to Frank White, and we do have extra innings. We are going to the 10th. So since we're going to the 10th, I'm going to move some things over so that the score sheet will fit more into the camera. I think that, let me double check my stuff here and make sure that everything is copacetic. Let me check and see how many innings I can fit in. Yeah, I can fit, looks like I can fit all 13 just like that. So there we go. All right, so we're going to the top of the 10th. Rogers with the nice performance, but he will give way to Woody Fryman. Fryman will lead off the top of the 10th, or start out the top of the 10th. He was 9-4, 3.75 ERA, and 12 saves in 1982. And he'll be facing the top of the order, Willie Wilson, Frank White, and George Brett. So Wilson will turn around and bat right-handed against Woody Fryman. He's had 4 at-bats left-handed against Steve Rogers. See what he does here against Fryman. 1-6 against the lefty. That's a single. Would have been just as bad, or would have been a single just the same there. But a leadoff single for Willie Wilson. And now we'll check the hold rating. Fryman's a -2, Carter's a -3. So that's a -5, and then 2 for being held is a -7. So if Wilson gets a jump, it'd be a 1-11. They still, with the way the offenses are going, I think they still need to try to get the jump. They cannot, so it's a moot point at this stage. So with Wilson being held tightly at first and not be able to get the jump, here comes Frank White. They could hit and run. He'd become a hit and run B if they wanted to try that. But I think we're just going to let him swing away. He's a dangerous hitter. 1-4, and he fouls out to third, so unfortunately there, he was not dangerous in that situation as he fouls out to Wallach. 1 down for George Brett. Now it's a lefty on lefty matchup for George Brett. 6-9, and he walks, so that keeps the inning going with only 1 out. Runners now at first and second, and they will have to hold Willie Wilson on at second base, but a base hit could very likely give them the lead. And now with Hal McRae coming up, a right-hander, I think Fryman's going to make an exit, a quick exit, actually. Got to write him in. He will make a quick exit, and they're going to bring in, they're not going to mess around, they're bringing in Jeff Reardon to try to get out of this mess. So Jeff Reardon will be on, and he's their closer, but in extra innings as the home team, there are no saves. So you might as well bring him in. 7-4, 2.06 ERA, and 26 saves. Jeff Reardon will be on. Woody Fryman goes a third of an inning. Gives up a hit and a walk and potentially 2 runs if they both score. So right now Reardon is on, and he will face the DH Hal McRae. Havoc roll, nothing happening. So Reardon could use a strikeout or a double play, something along those lines. 2-9, he gets a ground ball back to the pitcher. So Reardon will go 1-4 for the force play. But McRae beats the relay, and Willie Wilson will take third base. So now runners are on the corners. With 2 outs, McRae will not be held. And here's AO, Amos Otis. Havoc roll for Reardon. That's a 1, so 1-3 is a wild pitch that would give the Royals the lead. 4, it just blocked by Gary Carter. Great job by Gary Carter to block that wild pitch. Keeps the runners at bay, and here's AO. 1-7, and that's a pop out to short, but it's clutch. In a clutch situation, there are 2 outs, runners at scoring position. That turns into a single. So Amos Otis comes through in the clutch, and I know some people play Strat don't like the clutch, but since I'm doing super advanced, I'm going to play the clutch. So it's a base hit, RBI single for Amos Otis. That run is charged to Fryman. Close the book on Fryman now. That run is charged to him. McRae will stop at second base, but it's a RBI single for Amos Otis, and the Royals lead it 4-3. And now here comes Willie Aikens with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Reardon has to compose himself. One's another chance at a wild pitch. This one does get by him, so obviously a little bit shaken up by that base hit and loses his concentration and uncorks one. And now Willie Aikens can do some damage, but he won't get to. With first base now open, they will walk him intentionally. That's almost a no-brainer as Fanning put up the 4 fingers right away. And they will deal with the new catcher, Don Slaught. Came in for the injured John Wathan. This is a big at-bat for Slaught. He could really create some separation right here against Reardon. 4-9, but it's a strikeout. He's not tired, so strikeout stands. Innings over, but the Royals grab the lead 4-3, and we go to the ninth. I'm sorry, go to the bottom of the 10th, and despite how well Mr. Armstrong has pitched, there's only one man coming in for the Royals, and that's Mr. Quisenberry. So they're going to the quiz and see if the Expos can pass the test, or the quiz in this case. So Quisenberry coming on, 9-7, 2.57 ERA, and 35 saves. Let's look at the numbers on Mr. Armstrong. He struck out 3, walked 1, gave up nothing else in his 2 innings of work, and he is the pitcher of record. He would be the winner if the Royals win this game here in the 10th. He would get the win, Fryman would get the loss, and Quisenberry would get the save, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got the bottom of the 10th to take care of. And that's the top of the order for the Expos. Raines, Oliver, and Dawson, followed by Carter if anybody gets on. So grown man save here for Dan Quisenberry. He's attempting a grown man save. His big test is to keep Tim Raines off the base paths. Quisenberry with that sidearm delivery. 6-7, and that's a ground ball to Frank White, 1 away, and he passed that test by getting Raines off the bases. So that brings up Al Oliver, the dangerous Al Oliver. He is doubled and homered. 4-6. That's going to be a single. So he's a triple away from the cycle. I doubt he gets that, but it's a single for Oliver. Now he doesn't run well, so they may bring in a pinch runner to be the DH. So they're going to lift Al Oliver for a runner. They need speed out there. Let's see what they've got. They got Jerry White runs at a 16. So Jerry White running at a 16, he will take over as DH because they need speed out there. It's a need for speed for the Expos. And White will certainly be held on, but Quisenberry with a -3 hold rating and Slot a -1 arm, -4. They're not going to take a chance of getting thrown out, but he will force the Royals to play holding the runner. So now that brings up Andre Dawson against Quisenberry. The havoc roll, nothing happening. Quisenberry to the hawk. 3-8. 3-8 struck him out. Big strikeout for Quisenberry, and that's the hat trick for Dawson. He has struck out 3 times. Walked twice and struck out. Never got bad on ball. Here's Gary Carter. Last chance for the Expos. Quisenberry trying to finish it off and steal a road win. 6-8, and they'll do it. It's a ground ball to third. Brett throws to White for the easy play at force at second base, and the ball game is over. The Royals have come into Olympic Stadium and stolen game 1 by the score of 4-3 in 10 innings. And the Royals definitely ecstatic. Armstrong the winner. Quisenberry the save. Woody Fryman takes the loss. And I'll figure out, let's see, Quisenberry gave up a hit and that was it. Did get a strikeout. Let's see, Reardon went 2/3 of an inning. Just to get his numbers, 2/3 of an inning. He gave up a hit and an intentional walk with a strikeout. No runs charged. So final line score, Royals 4 runs. They do it on 8 hits. And there was no errors. And for the Expos, they get 3 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. So there you go. Game 1 is in the books from Olympic Stadium. Game 1. Pick your heroes if you're Kansas City. Not sure who you would turn to on that. I mean, AO got the big clutch hit, so maybe he's the hero of the game. He got the clutch hit in the top of the 10th. So maybe when all is said and done, there's your guy right there, AO. That 1-7 result would have been a pop out to short, but with the runner at scoring position and 2 outs, that clutch gave him the base hit and gave the Royals a 4-3 game 1 lead. So the pressure is going to be on the Expos to try to hold serve in game 2 and not have to go to Kansas City down 2-0. Starters in game 2, it'll be Charlie Lee for the Expos, and he'll be opposed by left-hander Paul Splittorff. That'll be the matchup in game 2. Splittorff against Lee. So hopefully you enjoyed that presentation of the Strat-O-Matic 1982 World Series. It's been a lot of fun to play the whole season and now the playoffs. Now it's winding down, but we're in World Series time here in real life, so why not? So that's going to do it from here. Final score again, Kansas City 4, Montreal 3. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.